Play, what's up, bro?
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Man, I am highly blessed and highly favored and all of that good stuff, man. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to hip hop royalty right now. So I'm in a good way, man. I'm in a good way. Do This My Way is in the background.
I hear you. I hear you.
You know, it's in the background, and I was doing some research, but I wanna get into that a little later. The crazy part is somebody was like, "Look, we're on time. We're punctual," and it's funny because I've done several of these since the quarantine, and nobody has been on right at the time we said we're going to be on. Like,
that's the way my parents raised me, man. That's the way my people raised me.
Right. Look, I'm trying to get right as well. I'm trying to get right as well. I mean, my daughter is, you know, when I'm back and forth between Baltimore and Atlanta, my daughter's with me and she needs to be entertained and that sort of thing. So it's a little extra on me, but you know, we're gonna make it work. You know what I mean? We're gonna make it work. How have you been holding up in the quarantine? How you been holding up?
I'm actually doing great. I'm kind of reluctant to give that answer because I don't want to be insensitive to those that might be dealing with a different kind of experience.
Right.
But, you know, my thing is, you know, keeping it 100 and transparent. This situation gives me the opportunity to do some things I've been wanting to do and finish up for quite a while. I'm more than blessed and fortunate with the gift that keeps on giving, with the things that the seeds the kid and I have sown, they just keep on giving. But what sometimes is a blessing feels like a curse, because what I also would like to be doing, it's hard to keep up that momentum when you got to be on somebody's plane and on somebody else's hotel room and another stage. So it's just trying to juggle the two. Plus my body and my mind really needed some rest. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to breathe, but I do pray that others that are in different situations get that breakthrough to be able to really see what we're going through for what it really is: change and new opportunities and prayerful blessings. So I'll leave it like that.
It's funny. My partner, you know, my better half is on here as well, and we do a podcast which we're going to do today at 5 p.m. Eastern. But we talk about in this climate right now, it really makes sense for me. I felt like it was something that was supposed to happen. We needed to slow down. We needed to refocus. We need to refocus on family, and it really gives you an opportunity, like you said, to really focus in on something that you wanted to do, or you wanted to work on, or you had some dreams, aspirations, some ideas, and you didn't get a chance to do it because you were doing your daily routine, making sure your bills were paid, and you weren't able to focus on you. This is your opportunity to focus on you.
And also bring attention to the unfortunate truth and reality when it comes to our situation with law enforcement.
Right.
Because now more eyes are on this because of, may I say, a captive audience, where maybe it wouldn't have been as noticeable if we were still doing what we were doing prior to this. So now we're kind of forced to pay attention to something we might not have been paying attention to before. So I see that as well.
Right. So let me ask you a question, because this is a debate for us as well. So, like, even talking about the NBA, I don't know if you're a sports guy or not, but talking about the NBA, they are great to go back. They're great to go back and play. I feel like they should go back and play, because I feel like it puts these guys back front and center, where they can push the message forward, right? I feel like, and then you have some people like, no, they don't need to play because it's going to take away attention from the actual message.
Well, I think situations like that are similar. Who's that cutie behind you?
Come here. My daughter. This is my daughter.
Hey, beautiful.
So listen, right? So what I'm gonna do is, when we done, I'm gonna show you his movie. He was like, he had a bunch of movies. He had cartoons. I mean, he had a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, just really a big deal. You understand that? So I'm gonna show you his movie. All right.
Nice to meet you.
He's talking to Daddy. All right. So say hi to everybody. All right. You going to the bathroom?
Nope.
Where you going? I'm in the middle of an interview.
I need
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you good?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look, and she knew I was doing the interview too, but she wanted to come down and see what was going on.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
That's a blessing there.
Right.
In regards to what you were asking me about, or what I believe you were asking me about, I see certain things in this situation, in this climate, as a two-edged sword. It has two edges. There's a blessing and there's a curse, as it is biblical. But there's also that same situation when it comes to situations. I can see that side that you speak of and the side that your partner speaks of, because you know, some of this stuff really was first introduced to us through sports in the first place with Kaepernick. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then with some of the NBA taking a stand with them. So I could see it going either way, because you know, there's this phrase that used to be said where if you're honest with yourself, you need to say, "Thank God that we're not God," because things that are going on today, I never would have imagined in my entire life.
Right.
Seeing how they play out on both sides of the sword that's coming through. So, and like you asked in the beginning, no, I'm not a big sports head. I count on Kid to rely on that, but and that's his thing. But for me, you know, I'm not big into it, but I know enough. You know.
Right. Okay. Okay. So what does play do? Like, what is play's guilty pleasure, or something that we may not even think? Because as I feel like I'm a hip hop guy. I've been DJing forever. I remember when, you know, from the, you know, Get Funky video, and I remember all of that. But what is a guilty pleasure about play that we probably don't know?
Digital art and design.
Okay.
That's really my thing. I mean, I've become pretty much so immersed and so obsessed with it. You know, I'm always wanting to find out what the latest gadget is, camera, lens, lighting system, audio system that will enhance ideas and visions in this amusement park I call the mind of mine, to bring it to fruition.
Right.
I think I had a major breakthrough this morning in regards to scribble animation that I'm very excited that I had a major breakthrough. But my thing is that I'm in comparison or in contrast to the character that many have grown or grew up knowing over the years through the movies and the music videos and stuff. I think in contrast, or in contrast, I'm quite boring. You know, I'm pretty much the nerd. I'm pretty much the geek. Hopefully a cool one, popping college.
Okay, say that.
I really love a good movie for the sake of watching the camera movement and the storylines and things like that. I love my late 60s, all of the 70s and 80s music. That's my playhouse as far as, excuse the pun, as far as music and stuff is concerned. I'm Earth, Wind, and Fire all day.
Okay.
And Sly and the Family Stone and Steely Dan and all of that. That's very therapeutical for me, because it reminds me of a time where I feel like I was my most creative. I didn't have that. My mother, sometimes on long seasons, being a single parent, you know, me wanting to be accepted by the cool guys and the cool people, the ghetto celebrities in the neighborhood. I really, before I actually had those kind of relationships, my imagination and drawing those people, drawing them, I was living vicariously through my drawing. So to hear that music reminds me of the time that I used to break day just drawing.
Right. You know, so, it's funny because I wanna talk about two things you said. For me, another thing that's helped with the quarantine was the fact that I'm not on regular commercial radio anymore. And when I mix and I do my IG live and my Facebook sessions, because I do both of them simultaneously, it gives me an opportunity to be really creative. Speaking about the old school 70s and, you know, 60s, 70s, and 80s music, gives me an opportunity to paint this beautiful picture with everything. And I can touch on some what I'm playing, you know, what's popular now, and make it all work together. Like I can play a Queen Latifah instrumental for Rap of My Madness with an acapella of Queen, "We Will Rock You," and work myself up, you know, to getting funky, and then play a Shaka Khan record with it. I mean, I can just, so it's made me fall in love with the whole, with music again. It's made me fall in love.
I hear you. I hear you. Big shout out to Mike Swift and IOU. I see you, my dude.
Right.
But you know, one of the things you just brought up was diversity.
Right.
You know, what was interesting about radio at the time was, especially when they finally put rap into rotation, you could hear and enjoy Heavy D and the Boys, and then right after that, Arrested Development, and then right after that, Public Enemy, and then after that, Salt and Pepper. It was a lot of diversity. But even with the music, like you just now said, some of the artists that you named, very special time in history that we'll never see again. But yeah, that's I would think is my guilty pleasure, things of that nature. I'm kind of binging on Shameless right now, so when I take a break from the computer, I'm binging on Shameless again for the third time. But yeah, that's what's up.
Right, we're doing Queen of the South right now. We're binging on Queen of the South, and I'm late because I'm not.
I tried to get into that. I got to go back. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace, and maybe I'm just too spoiled off of Narcos. Okay. Because when you're watching Narcos and stuff, they really take it. It's so real. Right. And anything that doesn't come close to that realness and authenticity kind of loses you. But I'm gonna come back to it. I might take that as a sign to give it another shot.
Give it a shot. I love to see a woman take control. Like I love to see that.
I don't know about like that though, but yeah, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, I love to see a woman take control, man. It's funny. It's funny because as I did my research, I realized that the character that I watched in the movies and the guy that I used to hear lyrically on these records is kind of opposite from the real Christopher Martin. Like Christopher Martin in Play from, you know, House Party and those records are a tad bit different, where you saying that you're kind of like now the opposite. You don't have a problem being in the house. You don't have a problem not going to the party.
Well, I was that guy then.
Right.
I was that guy then.
Okay.
Because, you know, a lot of people thought I was doing some great acting, but I just borrowed it from
yourself,
real life experience and other people that I admired so ignorantly at the time. But as I grew, you know, and maybe some degree of burnout, you know, because I have a lot of T-shirts with "Been There, Done That" on it. Okay. And it's very rare I see anything today that piques my curiosity because I know a lot, you know, thank you, Jesus. But I can say then I was that person. Right. But, you know, as you grow and, you know, things change, you know, and for me, I had to kind of realize the kind of golden carrot I was chasing was gold-plated, you know, symbolically, you know.
Right.
But yeah.
You know, because I love your character, and we you know, we had a chance and an opportunity to you know, do a PSA about the 30-year anniversary of House Party. You know what I mean? Which is, you know, coming up, and like I kind of been binging on the movie again. You like just really binging on the movie and talked about the character. I related with you as a character a lot more than, and even though Bilal was a DJ, it was, I related to you. Like you were fresh in the movie, you were popular, you had everybody at the party, you dressed the part, you had the hoopty then, and then and two, you got the Mustang. I had the hoopty and then moved to the act. It just, I kind of felt like I understood. I understood your character. You know what I mean? I related to your character.
Well, you know, it's so funny because I'm just now, and not all the way yet, and I know people might find this hard to believe, I'm just now beginning to get it. Because for a long time, I didn't get it. Right. And I understood it, but I didn't get it. And you know what I'm saying? I love the movie. I think we got some kind of connection here going on. I see me, but it looks like you're stuck. And I don't know if you guys can hear. Yeah, your screen is frozen.
Yeah, I had a caller come in, and
okay, you're back.
Okay,
you're back. You're a little pixelated, but you're back.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so I realized what that movie means to a couple of generations is what Coolie High meant to me, and a couple of generations before that. Right. You know, and it speaks volumes in regards to being able to successfully capture. And I guess that movie, along with a couple of others, can be put in a time capsule. If people needed to see what a certain era was like, in particular that era, that movie, along with a couple of others, seems like it would seize a great, you know, give people a real good look at what that era did and what it was about. You know, that Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, perhaps, you know, a couple of others that are classics.
Crush Groove and Beat Street did that for me as well.
Yeah. And Wild Style. Yeah, you got some good ones in there. Wild Style, Beat Street, you know, yeah, definitely. Right.
You know, they did that for me. Wild Style, I kind of went back and watched it recently, and it just, because it had Fab Five Freddy and it had Busy B, and I know Busy personally, so that it meant something, but it didn't seem like it went where it was supposed to actually go. You know what I mean? Like I didn't. But
being the first of its kind and a legitimate pioneer, because that's what it was.
Right.
You know, that landing can be kind of rough or a little off the mark, but for those who knew and those who lived it, appreciated it, and got it. Not to say you didn't. It just takes time. I know how we felt about Beat Street at the time. We felt that wasn't really a good, authentic piece. But over time, you know, it became a cult classic. Crush Groove. You know, we had our questions about some of the casting in it, but outside of that, it was good. But, you know, all of that. And I think that's why I was reluctant to even do House Party, because I didn't think if those other great powers that be that were involved in it wasn't really nailing it, I didn't want to come off or like that as well. But my hats off and salute to Reggie and Warrington Hudlin, big time.
Right.
And the ensemble that, you know, it wasn't a kid and play movie. It was a kid play, AJ, you know,
Tisha, Martin,
you know, Daryl Mitchell, Groovy Chill, Full Force, all of them, you know, and more. Forgive me for all the names I didn't mention yet.
And it's great because when you go back and watch it and you see all of these influential people to the culture that came out of the movie, the first time that I ever saw any of these characters were in your movie. John Witherspoon, I mean, Robin Harris, both rest in peace. You know, him in the bedroom, talk about Public Enema, and you're actually playing Flavor Flav. You know what I mean? I Can't Do Nothing. It was a lot going on, man. Really groundbreaking, and you know, congratulations.
Well, what else is so interesting to me, and I want to be very careful on what I'm about to say and charge it to my head and not my heart. I was speaking with Warrington Hudlin a couple of days ago, and we both were in somewhat, even though the positions we had in it, you would think we would know better or wouldn't be surprised by it. But just looking at, if I may say, the genius in such a way, because it was a thing you had to be really careful to deal with. But now fast forward to today and look at police brutality.
Right.
And look at how it was represented in the movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. It was done in a comical way, but it was honest and it was true. Right. And fast forward to today, look at this, you know, and I'll leave that right there. You know?
And you know what's crazy? Out of everything, and I've been binging on the movie recently for the last week or so. As much as I talk about police brutality and talk about what's going on and what needs to change, and you know, we need to come together, and I am proud of us as a people, because I've never seen us have this movement, and especially while everybody's watching, I really miss that. Not the fact that I missed it, but I didn't. The correlation, I didn't put the two and two together.
And I did too.
Right.
That's the reason why when I spoke with Warrington about it, it was such a revelation, so to speak.
Right.
It's like, to me, I'm gonna keep it 100. Continue to keep it 100. It was a funny part in the movie, and that's all it was to me.
Right.
But then over time, as I was meeting people and they were bringing it up, people were identifying it and relating it to real incidents in their lives.
Right.
And I'm like, wow. And then look at this powder keg we're dealing with today. And I'm like, wow.
Right.
You know, those scenes aren't so funny no more, but they were handled in such an artistic, they're not funny today in this climate we're in, but it was so artistically well done. It's like, you know, wow.
Right. Right. Definitely, man. And I, full disclosure, I didn't even put two and two together until you just said it. I mean, full disclosure, I just didn't. Something else I didn't know, and I was surprised. All I remember is Kid and Play being on Select Records. I never knew that you were label mates on Sutra with the Fat Boys. Had no clue whatsoever.
It would have to be a real enthusiast and historian to know, because, you know, we kind of threw you a curveball. We weren't Kid and Play then.
Right.
You know, we were Fresh Force. That was our name then. So a lot of people, you know, really wouldn't know that'd be so easy to go through. But no, we were Fresh Force, signed to Sutra Records, and yes, our label mates were one of the label mates was the Fat Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. I had no clue, because I paid attention because I bought records. I looked at labels and all of that, but I did not. I didn't realize it. I knew Salt and Pepper was Supernatural. I knew that, you know. Yeah. But I don't know how I missed that.
What's up, DJ Bro Rab? I see DJ Bro Rab, one of our DJs, DJ.
Right.
I give him a big up. But yeah. I mean, you know, we went through several evolutions in this thing. For sure, Kid and Play was definitely not a overnight success. No ifs, ands about that at all. You know, we definitely paid our dues what felt like forever, and there was some agonizing seasons, but, you know, looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't get the kind of success we finally achieved when I wanted it. You know, I probably would have really messed it up, but it's all good.
No, that would have been your learning experience. I mean, we get them, whatever it is, good, bad, and indifferent. You know, everything that we go through is a learning experience.
But our tuition doesn't have to be that high if it doesn't have to be.
Right. No, I get it. I get it.
Tuition any higher than it needs to be. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. So, do you miss any of that?
Miss what?
Do you miss play? Do you miss, you know, do you miss that energy? Because that's a different energy of where you're at now. What you're doing with your businesses and teaching and that sort of thing. Because we didn't even touch on any of that yet. But
I might miss it if the culture or the era was, or not the era, if the culture or the atmosphere was the same. Right. It's a different world now, you know. I am so grateful to the memories, the friendships that I still have. Kid and I, before this pandemic thing took place, we were traveling as much as we ever traveled before, doing shows and all of that. Matter of fact, we were supposed to be going out in May on a Pajama Jam tour, us and Salt and Pepper and some other artists. So that came to a halt. Like you already mentioned, this is the 30th anniversary of House Party, which I didn't know, but I got all of these contacts coming in regards to engagements that were supposed to take place, and a lot of celebration of celebrating events that are all getting pushed back or getting reformed in a more streaming type way that people will hear about in the near future. But I don't, because I would be misplaced. It's like I love the memories, I love the relationships. That's an era that I believe hearing you talk know something about as well.
Right.
that things will never, that's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so no, I don't miss it. I like a lot what's going on with me now. Is it comfortable every day? No. Is there hit and misses? Yes. But hit and misses and changes was going on back then.
Right.
You know, a lot of things that I wasn't crazy about, but they were all part of my formation. But I think the answer is no. There's moments, I'm human, but there's moments, but nothing that, you know, makes me want to go back in the time machine.
Right, right, right. You know, it's funny because I think that sometimes people don't realize that your failures, you know, unfortunately, we don't want to fail, but we need to fail as long as we fail forward, because that they your learning lessons. You can't get a better lesson than you going through that. You just can't. I mean,
well, how much would you appreciate when you nail it? How much would you appreciate it when you are successful if you don't have? And here's that cliche: how do you go enjoy the sunshine if you don't have any rain? You have nothing to compare it to, you know. So I mean, yeah, I mean those things are needed, you know, and they're my most valuable lessons, you know, to become a man of conviction. You know what I'm saying? Not to do something because I read about it or I heard that somebody else went through it and told me not to do it. Yeah, you can learn from that too. But it's nothing like you touching that stove and getting burnt.
Right,
and
right.
knowing not to touch that stove when those indicators are set on those particular settings. You know, yeah.
You know, we have a lot of things in common. I mean, me and you, and this is the first time I've ever talked to you, right? But as a great journalist, I have to do some research, and something I ran across.
I was acquitted of those charges you might be getting ready to bring up.
No. Listen, no, you said them. Listen, and it's not even that bad.
My record was expunged, so.
Look, I got put out of. So in Baltimore, it's like two high schools that were these big prestigious high schools. One was, you know, for Polytechnic Institute, and one was City College, and then the other one, because I know it's a bunch of women on here, is Western High School, which was an all-girls school. Western and Poly sat right next to each other. City was, they called the Castle on the Hill. And I got into these schools. You had to have a certain grade point average to get in school. I got into the school, and they said at the beginning, the first day, look to the right of you, look to the left of you. One of these students won't be here when you graduate, right? By the time I was going into the 11th grade year, I was already kicked out. I was at my zone school with the whole neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And I found out you got kicked out of a couple schools as well. So I didn't get kicked out of that many. I didn't get kicked out of that many, bro. Not that many. Not that many. But I said, man, this dude got kicked out of school. I said, this is why I like this guy. Granted, I've been, you know, a supporter and a fan forever, but like this, me and this guy got a lot in common.
Yeah, I'm a self-taught artist, graphic artist, whatever could be drawn, I was drawing it.
Okay.
And it paid off. I was also very heavy into music. Again, I mentioned Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was doing my thing on lead and rhythm guitar. So when it was time to try and go to high school, or it was time to pick a high school, I was accepted to 3 of them. The top ones in New York: the High School of Performing Arts, the High School of Music and Arts, and the High School of Art and Design.
Let me stop you right there. Is that the schools? Is that the schools that like Tribe Called Quest went to as well?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
I'm sorry.
I'm not really sure of their history in that lane.
Okay.
But I know Kwame went to Art and Design.
Okay.
Hitman producer Ron Lawrence, he went to Art and Design, and all of that. But with that being said, my family was excited about me being accepted to all 3. But now there was a choice of, am I to pursue music? Because the High School of Performing Art, Music and Art was for my lead and rhythm guitar skills, or promise. And then the other one was for drawing, art and design. So families felt I was a better artist, even though I was good at both, a better artist than I would doing the musician thing. But my identity in junior high school was that was my identity. In junior high school, I was that dude that drew.
Right.
You know, the pretty girls came to me to draw something. The dudes would come to me, yo, draw this for me. That was my identity.
Right.
When it was time to go to art and design, no one warned me that I was about to go to a school where a bunch of other people who were big in their junior high schools,
Right.
and those coming from Asia and all of that. I mean, they made my portfolio, to me, look so pathetic. It wasn't even funny. And it blew the wind out of my sails. It really disgusted me.
Okay.
And I wasn't that dude anymore, you know. And I ended up becoming friends with a group of guys that were very fashionable. They were the dudes. Why they accepted me in their crew, I don't even know. But they taught me the art of how to cut out of school. It's interesting because what would eventually be called hip hop, I wasn't introduced to hip hop by music. I wasn't introduced to it by dance and stuff. I was introduced to it by fashions.
Okay.
Because back then, these cats had the British Walkers, the Adidas, the Pumas. There was no such thing as Nike then.
Right.
Sheepskin coat, the Quarterfield, the leather joints, leather bombers, all of that. So that was my aspirations, was to, you know, get my weight up, at least fashionably.
Fashionably, right. Right.
But my attendance accrued, built,
right.
and out.
Okay.
And then there were some other high schools they tried to get me into for zoning. At that time, my father was doing major stints in prison. My mother was doing the best she could, trying to raise 4 kids on her own. The streets is calling me, drawing me in. This is the era of Fat Cat and Pappy Mason and Alpo and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Eventually jumping on. Really, it was more like Nicky Barnes and Guy Fisher, more towards that era, the 70s. So, you know, I blew it and was out there in the streets doing some things that normally I shouldn't be here doing this interview with you with. And when you brought up at the early part of this conversation about the roles in those movies, that's why I said I was doing me.
Right.
I was just playing what I was at that time, especially the Blade Brown character,
right.
You know, in Class Act.
Right.
You know, touch my posters in the back.
Okay,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Before you go, I want to talk about your teaching, and you know, because I know you've spoke and taught at all kind of universities, from HBCUs to I guess, you know, the Duke universities of the world. And for those that maybe don't know that part, can you let us in on that?
Well, God has a very interesting sense of humor, because fast forward, you know, I gave my life to the Lord, and he became my manager, my agent, my lawyer, and my accountant. Right. And when it was time for me to get back on track and, you know, begin to live life again, his thing was, you got to go back to school. Right. I'm thinking, you know, at the age that I was then, mid-30s, late 30s, going into 40s, I'm like, oh man, I got to deal with the public humiliation of being this big kid in class. And not only that, play from Kid and Play, being right. This kid in class. But what he ended up doing was hooking me up, God bless his soul, Dr. Albert Sloan, president at the time of Miles College, wanted to know, you know, it's a lot more into the story, but basically wanted to know would I be interested in coming to be what would be called artist and professional there. Right. And being able, on his end, to use my celebrity as a recruitment tool for the neighboring high schools to consider Miles College to go to college. But at the same time, barter with me, still get a salary, but also be able to sit in and go to classes and stuff. One thing led to another. When that season was up, I was introduced to North Carolina Central University. From that, introduced to Florida A&M University. Big shout out to Chancellor James A. Ammons. But then word got out, I guess because of the celebrity and what I was doing, being an advocate, which I still am for education. Right. Duke University, Stanford, all of these colleges would bring me in to guest speak or to have some kind of relationship with them, with their students, which was very profitable to me, not only just financially, but more importantly, for me to catch up. Because when Play was, Christopher Martin stopped existing. When Play was born in early mid-20s. Christopher Martin stopped growing. When it was time to let Play go at the late age of 30, Christopher Martin returned back, but he returned back with the mentality of an early 20-year-old,
Right.
and I had to catch up. So I hope that, you know,
no, definitely.
Yeah, that's how all that began, to the best edited and respectful of time that I could go.
Right. And a lot of what we talked about, I kind of relate to myself. We talk about I feel like Jay Claxton, the DJ and personality entertainer, is the same guy as James Claxton, just a little different. And my significant other, my partner, she's on the timeline. She says that it's a difference. And I said, no, we're the same guy. I just, if I'm with Play, I would love to, me and you go, we all go get a bite to eat, have a cigar, have a drink, and that's great for me. You know what I mean? That's great for me. But if I'm performing, it's a different energy. But I feel like they are the same guys, just a switch that we turn on because that's what we've done for a living. So I don't know, maybe
what's your partner's name?
So Cass Vaughn, you see her on here right now?
Yeah, I see her. She's like, he's lying and laughing and all of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I hear you though. I mean, and that's a gift, that you learn how to manage, you learn how to navigate. When you meet certain people, like one of the greatest things my father taught me among many, and I'm talking about my physical earthly father, is like, son, as he saw I was beginning to embark on this new way of life and what my assignment would be very careful that you don't use the $5 words on the $50 people, and don't use the $50 words on the $5 people.
Okay.
No insult in regards to the crowd, but just knowing who you're with and the energy, and knowing how to adapt and to be the most positively effective that you can be, and take yourself out of the equation. So I hear what you're saying, from the cigar to the stage and all of that. I get it, and I appreciate the confirmation and the relatability.
Right. I feel like that's all part of you. I mean, you like you said, you ain't the same person, and you're not out there in the club and women and all of that. But that was part. And if you had a role, you could fall right back into that, because you will remember that you lived it. So you will fall right back into that. That all goes under the Christopher Martin umbrella. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's all you. I mean, it wasn't you faking it. That was really you. You really lived it. You know what I mean? That's why, like you said, you were able to play those roles because you were playing yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they say, and not to say that I want to include myself in that group, that, your best performances come out of real things you've been through. Right. Like great singers, unfortunately or fortunately, their most successful tunes comes out of pain. Yeah. They say that about comedians too. Right. Your good friend of ours, Dave Chappelle and others, it's like, it's funny, even with Martin and others, hanging out with them the way we do, and then to see them hit the stage and to take something from something we just either all experienced together or heard about in real life, how they remix it into a laugh at, haha, look at silly me, laugh at me experience that not only people get. It's almost like my mother with the cotton oil with me and my sisters. She would give us a cotton oil, but she would follow it up with orange juice.
Right.
Same thing with the comedy. You're going to tell this story that most people relate to. That's why we're laughing. It's like, oh, we know what you're talking about, but it's in laughter. But if somebody were to come and tell us in an accusatory manner, accusing us, you stupid, look what you did wrong, and say the same truth, now we don't take it the same way, because now it's coming with this, this judgment. But with the comedian or with a singer, it's like, oh, yeah, me too. I call it a Me Too ministry,
Right. Before you go, because I know when we get to about an hour, RG will cut us off. What gives you more joy? Because you still tour, what gives you more joy? The stage, or talking to students, helping people, and watching that flourish? Like watching the effect that you have on students and people as you're helping them at these universities and things of that nature. Is that more does that make you feel better, or the stage really makes you, when you have that whole crowd, you got thousands of people under your control, which makes you feel better?
Well, I used to put up a post kind of annually, and a lot of people would respond to it. I want to put it up again now that I think about it. It's a picture of a unmade bed, as though somebody just got out of bed. Okay. Or either I'll do this other thing that enforces the statement. But it's nothing like being where you're supposed to, doing what you're supposed to, and there's a third one I meant. It's nothing like being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to, but it's like, yeah, I can be into, I wish I was doing this, because the funny thing about Kid and I, when we were doing movies, we would want to be doing the touring, musical touring. When we're doing the musical touring, we look forward to doing the movies, but it's something about being where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be at. There's nothing like it, no matter how you felt about it prior to being there. For me, I love my documentarian work. Like right now, I'm finishing up a documentary that I'm going to release in August called And I Danced. Right. And it's a story about all these dancers that started out in the low budget or no budget music videos that are now considered iconic hip hop and R&B music videos, but how a lot of these dancers went on to dance for Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, Janet Jackson, the list goes on. So that's like what I love doing now, is being a documentarian. I've done other documentaries before where I've won awards. But when it's time to be in front of students and talk about, my thing is, I might not be able to tell you what to do, but I can sure enough be able to tell you what not to do. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I can be able to share some guests they may come and talk about all the fruits and the success they had when they did the right thing. Right. I'm that guest that's going to come and tell you what happened when I did the wrong thing. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know why I did air quotes on the wrong thing. Right. But yeah, I'm there to tell you the consequences of not doing it the right way.
Got you. I know when I get a chance to help others, or do toy drives for children's hospitals and things of that nature, even coach kids playing basketball. I mean, that's so fulfilling for me. It does something more for me than maybe it does for the kids, and it's just a different feeling. I don't know.
Purpose, when you're in your purpose, that's what I should have said before. It's something about when you're in your purpose. You might not have meant for it to happen. You didn't know it was going to happen. You didn't. There's been times I went to go do things where I wasn't in the mood to do it. Right. If I could have got out of it, I probably would have whatever. But I just sent up that prayer saying, Lord, you know how I'm really feeling right now. Please, all you know me. I said that little prayer before I came on here to do this. Right. I don't do interviews where I want the questions to come to me ahead of time. I want it to be, totally organic and impromptu and all of that stuff, so that I can leave room for him. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave room for him.
Right. And I'm surprised that I've done some IG lives with some folks, and they like, hey, well, what are the questions you're gonna ask?
And that's okay.
But I hope that if you know me a tad bit, that you know that I, what they call clickbait interviews. I'm not gonna ask you about your wife, your girlfriend, why you broke up. Right. All I want to do is, if you want to get into that, then that's fine. That's on you. That's not what I'm gonna push for, because I want to show you in the most positive light as possible. Even if we've all done bad things, but I want us to talk about something. If you spend any time with me on the radio, in the club, on IG Live, on a podcast, if you took time out your schedule, away from your kids, while you're working, whatever the case may be, to listen, I need you to get something out of that 45 minutes to an hour, because you can't get the time back. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You can't get the time back. So, and then shout out, really is a lot of DJs and people in the industry, graphic designers and producers and a lot of folks on the timeline that I'm watching. And I just want to tell you thank you for taking the time, because you didn't have to, and you did.
I appreciate what you're doing. I remember when, for myself, Big shout out to Gear. I see my man Gear. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right on there. And well, what I did want to say is a shout out and thank you to our girl, our mutual friend, Sharice Malachi,
right.
who, you know, reached out and made the connection, you know, with you and your partner.
Right.
But no, the pleasure is all mine, man. And, you know, I just ask on behalf of many others who can use you and need you and use your help, whether they know it or not. Please don't stop. You know, don't stop, my brother.
Man, thank you, man. You made my day, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you made my day.
Well, you must be a cheap date to please then.
Yo, listen, real talk, and I don't take much as people think that.
Right.
You know, it don't take much. I need some peace. I need a cigar and a drink. I'm all right. I promise.
No, I know what you mean. You know what my favorite food is? I don't eat it anymore because I'm very health conscious. But you know what my favorite food is?
What?
And it's symbolic of my way. What? Franks and beans.
Okay. All right.
No steak,
right.
no lobster.
Right.
Franks and beans, Jay. You know, and that's very symbolic in regards to what it takes for me to be good. You know what I'm saying? Right. So no, I appreciate. I salute, man. And be careful out there. Mask up, everybody. Don't get caught up in this political nonsense, man. This warfare. Take care of yourselves, man. Social distancing, mask, all of that. It's better to be safe than sorry and take the pride out of the way, man. You know?
Say that, man. Say that. Man, Play, thank you so much, man. I think that I know for a fact that somebody got some food out of this today. You know, hopefully everybody did. But if we touch one, then that was enough. And man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And then I'm gonna reach out offline. I'm gonna reach out offline because you're in the South now, right? You're not in New York anymore. Florida. Okay. Yeah. All right. So
love, peace, and hair grease. Take it easy, Greasy. You got a long way. To slide.
Right. All right, man. Got you, man. Thank you. All right. Hey, man, thank you for everybody that was on today. I appreciate it. I hope that everybody got some food out of this. Man, thank you so much. I see so many people, so many friends and family on there. Shout out to all of y'all. Love y'all. Thank you. And I normally would go live now, but I have a doctor's appointment, and we're going to the doctor's. I'm going to go get some things taken care of. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the podcast, though. We changed the name from Coping with Corona to Rules of Engagement. So we'll have that at 5 o'clock, and that'll be on both IG and Facebook. So make sure you tune in. We're going to give you, 45 minutes to an hour of some information that you need. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Me and my daughter, Greta, go and run, and then we'll be back to do this podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific. All right. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much.